the recording already started, so for that. So my name is Pontus Venskoski, and I'm from also Finland, where I work as a focus sales manager. So mostly working with our customers on Microsoft topics. And today, my intention is to talk to you about one important aspect of Copilot, so meaning getting your customers ready and looking at things from the security point of view, because this is very important to many customers. Also, I'm going to present you with one tool that you can use, which is free to use, so you can get input on any information in your customer environment. And help you in the discussions when you talk about Copilot. So, I mean, as I've been working with many of our Finnish resellers, I think quite often comes the question that customers are interested in Copilot, but sometimes a little bit hesitant about the security aspects. And I want to make sure that everything is okay, because Copilot is a very powerful tool for accessing data and using it. And if you have problems with your data security, it will kind of bring those problems very visible. So we have customers who are hesitant to start using Copilot because of that. And then we also have customers who have taken Copilot into limited use to test it on a certain group of people. And now, once they have been doing the testing, they are maybe thinking about taking it into wider use and have some concerns about the security. They want to make sure that everything is okay before they take it into wider use. So addressing these things is kind of the focus I want to have today. So let's start the slideshow. So here is the agenda. And after my presentation, Jermond has also some important links and announcements to make to you. So stay on the line until he's done with his part. So first, we're going to look at the licensing requirements and the data security aspects, and also comparing a little bit the Microsoft 365 packages from security point of view. So to understand kind of what are the differences and what you can and what you cannot do if you have certain package. Then I'm going to show you this Microsoft Copilot for Microsoft 365 optimization assessment. So it's something you can order for your customers. So I think this is information that most of you are very familiar with. So it was roughly 2 months ago when Microsoft made Copilot widely available for all sizes of customers. So it means that it's available in all the sales channels, and the pre-requirements for having Copilot is either from Business Suite. You need to have Business Standard or Business Premium. You can also have the Education A3 or A5. And then when we go to the enterprise suites, you can either have Office 365 E3 or E5, or then Microsoft 365 E3 or E5. So I think this is now familiar to everybody. Just to make sure, there's also no minimum order size, so you can start with one Copilot if you want, and then expand it. And the price, as we all know, is $30. So a little less than $30 in euros a month, and it will be billed annually. So it's an annual prepaid version. So this is something that probably everybody knows quite well now. Also, I think this is something that we have been covering earlier. So what is the Microsoft view on AI? So there's a huge number of different AI tools in the market, and the number is growing, but kind of these are the main pillars that Microsoft is building their offering on. So there's security, compliance, privacy, and responsible AI. So I think this is quite clear to everybody. But if we focus on the privacy, so how Microsoft sees privacy, so there are some very important aspects. So the end customer is in control of their data, and the end customer know where the data is located. What Microsoft is doing is they are securing the data in rest and in transit, so making sure that nothing happens to it when you are not using it, and Microsoft is also defending the data. The same little bit in a little bit different form is the shared responsibility of security for AI usage. So Microsoft is controlling the access to the production environment and protecting your data. But what is the responsibility of the end customer? And since you are providing IT services for your end customers, this is something that you are most likely doing for your customer. So you are controlling the access to the AI apps, so meaning setting up the control policy and so on. You need to protect the data entered in the app, so meaning that you can apply data loss prevention controls, for example. And also the user side. So you need to implement and operate organization-wide AI security training, so that everybody who is using the tools knows what they are doing. So I think this is quite clear to everybody, but still to kind of underline and make sure that we are all in the same page. This is a very interesting short video clip demonstrating that how the Copilot security works. So sometimes people have the idea that Copilot is creating some security issues, but Copilot is really not creating anything. Copilot is only highlighting if you have problems with your security, and this. The idea is that your personal Copilot can access everything the same way that you can. And this video very clearly demonstrates how it works. So I think this is a very good example.
Hello, there's no sound on the demonstration.
Okay, so I received the comment that there is no sound. Let me check.
Oh, there is sound.
Sorry?
We can hear you now.
Yeah, but apparently the sound on the video was not audible. Did anybody hear the sound on the video?
I didn't hear any sound.
Okay, at least you got the live caption, I guess.
When you share your screen, you need to enable the video in the logon. There's a little check mark on top of it. It says enable video sounds on it. So unshare your screen, share it again, and then check it off.
Yeah, sorry. Yeah, okay, thank you very much. So let's try again.
Microsoft 365 Copilot works with the data security controls you have in place for file access, labeling, classification, and data loss prevention. Mario Rogers works for Violet Martinez, and both are on the same team at Contoso. Mario and Violet are also members in the same group working on Project Falcon. Now we'll start with Violet, who's been working with the procurement and contract management teams to sell their partner ReliCloud 1,500 Mark 8 quadcopters. And you can see the file is labeled highly confidential with restricted access, and it describes all the terms in the purchase agreement. Because Violet has access to the file, she's able to search for and find it in SharePoint and Microsoft365.com. And of course, Violet can also navigate to the file's location in the Agreements folder of the project site to find the purchase agreement. So now let's look at Mario's experience. Even though he's on the same team and working on Project Falcon with Violet, if Mario tries to search for the Contoso purchase agreement, he won't find it. And there are a few purchasing documents that he does find without sensitive information, but not the one that Violet's working on. And if Mario knows the location of the purchase agreement and tries to navigate to it directly, it just appears as an empty folder to him. And when Mario launches Word on the web and creates a blank document, then prompts Microsoft 365 Copilot to summarize the Contoso purchase agreement as a reference file, because Microsoft 365 Copilot respects the file permissions of its user, Copilot also cannot access the purchase agreement. Now, if we switch back to Violet's screen, because she has permission to access the purchase agreement, she can use Microsoft 365 Copilot to summarize the file. And after a moment, you'll see it created a summary of the purchase agreement, and Violet decides to keep it. Then data security controls for Microsoft Purview discover sensitive information found in the Microsoft 365 Copilot generated content. The document is automatically labeled as highly confidential, and policies are enforced to restrict access to the document. Microsoft 365 Microsoft.
Okay, so I think that was very good illustration of how does it work with Copilot. And I think the most important phrase in this was the Microsoft 365 Copilot works with the data security controls you have in place for file access, labeling, classification, and data loss prevention. And of course, this means that it's very much depending on two things. So what tools and licenses you have in use? Because if you have very lean licensing, if you are using business standards, for example, you are missing most of these features. And of course, the other thing is that how do you use those tools? Because sometimes you can have customers with E5 licenses who are not using all the features that they have. So of course, then you need to review what they are using and how their system is set up. So two very important things. So if we compare the different packages, let's start with the business suite. So business standard has some of the basic features you need to have, so like multi-factor authentication and so on. So you can have reasonable security with it. But when we think about the business premium, I think the major difference is in the security features. So for example, there's sensitivity labeling, conditional access, endpoint management capabilities, and so on, which really enhance the security, especially with the Copilot. Also the same in a little bit different format. So if we compare the major security and compliance areas in these packages, so for identity and access management, many of the important features are only available in Business Premium. Endpoint management is almost completely available only in Business Premium. And there are data security and compliance features like data loss prevention policies, which are available for Business Premium. So, I mean, if you don't have the Business Premium, you are really missing out on a bunch of things. So if you are reviewing your customer readiness, you can quite clearly talk about these features and their importance when you see the customer licensing. If we look at the enterprise suites, the Office 365 E3 is somewhat comparable to the business standard. So it's having the basic features, but not the more comprehensive ones. Then Microsoft 365 E3 is quite close to business premium. So it has a lot of these already very useful features. But when we compare the E5, there's a lot of very useful features like the automatic sensitivity labels, which you saw there. So things that make sure that when you have set up the policies, things work automatically, so they are not always depending on the human interaction. There's also a bunch of tools which enable you to review who has access to what. And if we look at this from a similar point of view, this list view, you can see that for example, from the identity and access management part, what you have there is much wider control of the cloud apps and the possibility to have these reviews on who has access and so on. So you can verify that everything is in order. So of course, naturally, when you think about checking the customer Copilot's readiness, if the customer has these features in use, it also makes life easier to you to check how things are used. And one also important area where E5 has a lot of good features is the threat protection, which is mostly available only in E5. We can also have a little bit closer look at the current list, because you know that Microsoft is changing their functionality list quite often. So if we compare the business suite plans here, when we go to the areas of threat protection, endpoint management, you can clearly see that Business Premium is the only suite that includes any of the features there. Same goes for identity and access management and the information protection. So when we talk about data loss prevention and so on, very important features, they are not available in the business standard. Also, when we look at the enterprise suites, there's a bunch of very important features like the data loss prevention. I mean, it's available in this E3, but in E5 there is the Teams and the endpoint data loss prevention available. So they are really making sure that everything is protected. And then when we talk about the labeling, their labeling features, they are much better in the E5. So that's another area which is clearly where there's a huge difference. And then when we talk about the identity and access management, there's the access reviews there, which I was showing you. and the privilege identity management and so on features. So really, there's a huge difference between these packages, and I think what we need to do is we need to be able to discuss this with the customers and make them understand the main benefits. So obviously, if we think about what we can do and how we can do it from tooling point of view, of course, when you have access to your customer environment, you can review a lot of things there, and you can see what features are being in use. So you can do a lot of manual work, but there's also a certain set of tools available. So Microsoft has this Copilot optimization assessment, which I'm going to show you. The other tools you have access and you can use is the Lighthouse and Lighthouse Sales Advisor, where you can see the different licenses and the features that are being used. And also the CSAT security assessment is including Copilot information as well. Let's take a look at this Copilot's readiness assessment. Microsoft has a bunch of these SMB assessments available in this so-called assessment desk, and Copilot is one of those. So when we look at these nomination criteria, there are actually two versions. So there is the one we are going to cover now in more detail, which is the SMB version. So starting from 30 seats up to 300 seats. And then if you have these enterprise grade customers, so over 300 seats, then there is also a more comprehensive version available. So what you get with this readiness assessment? So there are kind of three components. So there is this tool called Block 64, which is doing a scan on the custom environment, and then there is this questionnaire which you fill. So those are the kind of starting points for this assessment. So what you get there is the readiness metrics, so covering security, licensing, and optimization part, and they are all included in the Copilot's readiness report, which I'm going to show you what it looks like. So here are the stages of doing this SMB version. So from 30 to 300 customers, seats. So all in all, the process starts with the assessment planning. Then there is the Copilot scan, and then there is the report generation and delivery. So all in all, this process takes 1 to 2 weeks, and there is Microsoft involvement available. So there is a person in Microsoft who is doing the report for you. So we can take a closer look at the web page where you can do this. So the page is as follows. I will also post a link. So here you can have all these assessments. There is also available for the very small customer this self-guided Copilot assessment. You can activate it here, and it's really based on this form that you fill in and do the assessment. But we are not going to cover that. We are going to cover this little bit larger option. So in this page, you go to the Microsoft portfolio of solution assessment, and here you select the Microsoft partner part. So this is where you fill in your information and the customer information and select the Copilot's readiness. So this is how you start the process, and then you get a contact from Microsoft to continue with the process. And once it's ready, you will get this type of a report. So this is a sample customer, so this is not in that sense real data. but gives you an idea how it's done. So there will be a summary where security licensing and optimization is covered, and based on all of these areas, you get the Copilot's readiness status. So if it's red, it means the customer is really not ready for Copilot. If it's yellow, it means that you can take Copilot into use, but there are considerations. And if it's green, it means that go ahead and take Copilot into use. So the security part comes from this Zero Trust Maturity questionnaire. And these are the areas which are covered. So there will be devices, apps, infrastructure, data, network, and identities. So based on these, you get the full view. How many points? So I think the maximum is 36. So this is kind of on halfway there level. Then what you get from Microsoft environment is also. Sorry, was there a question? Okay, and then what you have for security is the Azure secure scores and possible considerations from there, and also the Microsoft 365 secure scores. And then is the licensing part, so meaning that what licenses you have, and are you able to take Copilot into use for everybody? So this is quite straightforward. Then there is the data uptake, meaning that how you use and store your data. I mean, if you are storing the data on your local PC instead of using SharePoint, OneDrive, and Teams, of course, the Copilot is not able to use things so effectively. So the more you use these tools, the more Microsoft the more Copilot has data to work on. So this is also one important aspect. And then you get the what's next plan, which you can take to your customer. So it's a quite simple, straightforward report, easy to go through. And I know that for many of your customers, you are the main source of information, so they trust you, and what you give them, they will use it as a starting point for planning the future. In other cases, it may be so that the customer is more willing if they get, let's say, an external view. So sometimes this kind of report may be good for your sales efforts to give you a more kind of unbiased view of the situation. Here I have also the larger version, which is intended for customers over 300 seats. So you can see that this has a little bit more information. So the Zero Trust questionnaire is, to my understanding, a little bit larger. So there's more questions, and also the security scores are covered in more detail. Another aspect which is also covered is the operating systems and the application use and the application security also. So covering a little bit more. One interesting area is that in the security profile, the tool is comparing what kind of tools you're using, how much kind of money you are spending, and what you could save if you started using the equivalent Microsoft features, which in many cases customers already have. So, but this is the like I said, the larger version, which is intended for the customers over 300 seats. I will share you this link where you can initiate these processes and start doing these. I mean, of course, there are other tools and there are things you can do in your own customer environments with the existing tools to check the customer situation. So this is not the only thing you can use, but this is something which is very useful. There is now also the link available. So this was it from my side. So Jermund, as I was saying, Jermund has also, if you have some questions, please go ahead, and Jermund has important links and important announcements. So go ahead.
Thank you. Well, think of some questions for Pontus while I talk then. I'm just going to say, since this is the last episode in the Copilot Coffee Break series, thanks to everyone for following us on this journey. But also to ask you to please pay attention to our training paths in the AI Academy and readiness training, such as Next Step. Please mute. Sorry, I'm just muting someone. I'll put some links in the chat for a previous episode to watch on demand. So that's all from me. I hope we meet again soon. Thank you. I don't know if you're close to meeting.
Yeah, I mean, thank you very much, and thank you everybody for attending, and hopefully you find this useful, and we will share the material. Thanks a lot. Have a nice day.